I only scheduled a day and night in Cordoba. Big mistake, because there's so much more to see and do. I really missed out on a lot. After spending some time in the center of town, which is busy and a little touristy, I wandered off into the residential area. What I found was absolutely clean and tranquil. Birds, plants, and actually a little abandoned. It was a little eerie. I don't know where all the people were. It was a Wednesday. And it seemed like every road I went down, there was a street that had a ruin or an ancient building at the end of it. I learned that there's a misconception about when the Muslims ruled in Andalucia that these were the Dark Ages, but you know, it just was not the case. During the Muslim rule, they allowed everyone to practice their own chosen faiths, and they combined the talents of the Jews and Christians. And it wasn't until after the Reconquista, when the Christians ruled again, that the hardships really began with the Spanish Inquisition, when the Jews and Muslims were ordered to convert to Catholicism or leave. I really enjoyed the Roman bridge. It was originally built in the early 1st century, and on one side is the Puerta de Puente, and on the other side is the Tower of Calahorra. And in this tower there's a museum which really appealed to my inner child because it's filled with history and filled with models. You know how kids like to put together models. There were scale models of the buildings and the mezquita, which I found interesting because it really gave you a look of what it really looked like before the Reconquista. One of the things that I learned in the museum was the fact that the marriage between the Christians and the Muslims really played out with the land. Since the Spanish were masters at growing crops, the Arabs were masters at irrigation. It wasn't until the two talents were brought together is when, as they said, is when for the first time the land began to sing. The Roman bridge, there are only 2 arches left, 2 of the original arches, but just walking down it, you can view all the history that took place over the centuries in Cordoba. I'd like to share some things that I've learned in Spain, about Spaniards. Spaniards typically, they love to walk their dog. I was in cities for the most part, you know, Barcelona, Madrid, Sevilla, these are all paved cities. Doesn't stop them. And the city streets they're primarily clean, so they do a very good job in picking up their dog poop. The dogs are well behaved. Even some of the young ones, they're very much used to a lot of the pedestrian traffic. So yeah, they mind their own business, and they have their heads down and walking forward like their Spaniard owners do. The people of Madrid and Barcelona, these are some rude people. I had a curse word I wanted to insert there, but they seem French to me, because if you're a tourist, yeah, they're not going to mind you much. If you're at a cafe and it's crowded, you really need to squeeze your way in there and tell them what you want. Otherwise, it's dime, tell me what you want. When they answer the phone, that's what they say, dime. To me, it's a little rude. When you get to the south of Spain, Sevilla, Granada, these people are nice and hospitable. Although they won't look you in the eye when you're walking. I use the model in the south, our south, in Texas and Louisiana, where they will say hi to you when you're walking by, and if you don't say hi back, they'll assume, oh, you're from New York or California. But here in Spain, they don't do that. They look straight ahead, or they're talking to whoever they're talking to, or they're talking on the phone. But they're so much nicer in Andalusia that I fit in much more.